Apparently, we ignited quite a controversy the other night in a segment about an essay that argues Santa should no longer be portrayed as a white man. The African-American author of the piece, Aisha Harris, was upset about the commercial depiction of Santa Claus as white and argued that a, quote, fat, old white man who is, quote, melanin deficient made her feel ashamed as a child, thus necessitating an image makeover. In kicking off the lighthearted segment, I offered a tongue-in-cheek message for any kids watching, saying that Santa, who I joked is a real person whose race is identifiable, is white, just as Harris claimed in her piece, but that we were debating whether that should somehow change.
So in Slate, they have a piece on .com, Santa Claus should not be a white man anymore. And when I saw this headline, I kind of laughed, and I said, oh, this is so ridiculous. Yet another person claiming it's racist to have a white Santa, you know? And by the way, for all you kids watching at home, Santa just is white, but this person is just arguing that maybe we should also have a black Santa. But, you know, Santa is what he is, and just so you know, we're just debating this because someone wrote about it, kids. Okay, I wanted to get that straight. But Jedediah, when I read the piece, the author seems to have, you know, she's African-American, and she seems to have real pain at having grown up with this image of a white Santa, and she speaks about it kind of honestly, saying, I didn't really understand why that had to be.
I realized that the piece by Harris, which went on to argue that Santa should be a penguin, was also tongue-in-cheek. That's in part why we covered the story in the first place. Humor is a part of what we try to bring to this show, but sometimes that is lost on the humorless. Cue the firestorm of controversy over my declaring Santa's skin color. Many questioning whether I understand that Santa is a mythical figure. Others suggesting I am a racist who is outraged at the idea of a black Santa. You would certainly hope, you know, particularly this time of year, we can do better and try coming together and try, as I said in my opening, not to always assume the worst about each other. Don't we always just assume the worst, and then we go on Twitter and blindly say the meanest things we can possibly say. This is in a column from Politico's Roger Simon, who says the government shutdown has unleashed racism, and talks about how the racists among us think they can tell us what makes an American. And he goes through some examples of some racist comments that have been made, it seems attempting to portray those who feel differently than perhaps the Democrats in this contest as people who have a problem with those of color. Your thoughts?
And that's the way things have been rolled out by members of the left media. Roger Simon actually started that same column by suggesting that America would be better off if Speaker of the House John Boehner and Senator Ted Cruz both drowned. He actually said that would make America a better place. And yet the folks who are on the other side are presumably the extremists. He tried to lump in everybody on the right with some moron out there with a Confederate flag at the White House, completely ignoring what the Million Vet March was really about, which was the Obama administration's vindictive attempt to shut down a war memorial simply to hurt veterans.
He talks about the guy with the Confederate flag, which, of course, the Washington Post put up huge on its paper. He talks about Joe Wulzerbacher, better known as Joe the Plumber, who did come out with a bizarre article on his blog entitled "America Needs a White Republican President." And this is from Joe the Plumber. Admit it. You want a white Republican president again. Wanting a white Republican president doesn't make you racist. It just makes you American. Okay, Joe. You would certainly hope, you know, particularly this time of year, we can do better and try coming together and try, as I said in my opening, not to always assume the worst about each other. Don't we always just assume the worst, and then we go on Twitter and blindly say the meanest things we can possibly say.